everybody. I just want to make one quick note that we did just look at the chat very quickly, and it seems that there's a few issues, but obviously we're in the middle of the meeting, so we can't address everything. But we will be going through, and if there's a few problems, we'll make sure that they are fixed for the next meeting.
We'll also post another link for those of you that came on late. We got another link. You guys got to make sure that your browser is going to get the proper feed. So we do have a link that works almost 100% of the time.
Perfect. Could that be typed into the chat for anyone?
Yeah, Jordan's got it.
Oh, cool. Yep. Okay, lovely. Sorry about that. Well, Karol, welcome. Everybody, I'm so pumped because we have a brand new preferred supplier, and they are Global Raymac Surveys, which the same as Global Surveys.
Global Surveys, yeah.
Yes, because I think a couple people might be a little bit more familiar with that. So brand new. We're going to be sending a bit of a welcome email out to all of you about them this week. But we wanted to have you on. So, Karol, just to start off with, when you and I met, I couldn't believe how much business you guys did in Calgary. Like, it blows my mind. Tell me a little bit about the company and the history.
For sure. So, company's been around for approximately 30 plus years, mainly in real property reports, municipal stuff, and then also oil and gas. So, our company's kind of wide throughout Alberta as well. We have a few offices on and off, and lots of resources throughout Alberta.
That's great. Yeah. And what percentage of the RPRs do you do?
Close to 50% of Calgary.
Isn't that impressive?
We do approximately, give or take, 2,500 RPRs a year and plus on a good year. So we cover quite a bit.
That's amazing. And one of the things that I loved about our conversation, and obviously I'm not a realtor, so there was a few things that you brought up that I wouldn't have even thought of, but in terms of your big focus, it's on never having a deal be delayed ever because of a late RPR, and your big focus is on the complete timeliness of this.
That's correct. So our turnaround times are really nailed down to 7 to 10 business give or take. What do we prefer to have for clients or agents to have a real property report done as soon as possible, just to avoid any delays in closing dates. If there's any potential problems and issues, then we can definitely deal with that and help client or agent walk through the process and make sure that D-Day comes and they can comfortably close the deal.
One of the things that we do is educate our realtors. All of you have to do this. The second you hear about your client is thinking of selling, your first phone call interaction with them, ask them about an RPR.
Yeah.
Ask them if they have it, if they don't know, because you might be 7 to 10 days before you get the listing, even 30 days, and this gives ample time to identify issues, get your survey done. Too many of you sell the property and then say, oh, now we need to go get an RPR. And it's like, no, like you've missed it. Like you got to get it beforehand because there's so many things that can come up.
And part of this, what we're trying to do is with our clients is make them almost educated. Maybe they haven't been in a case or situation like that they come up to the property, come up to the listing, they have old RPR, everything looks exactly the same. They feel like, well, I don't have to get a new one. But it could be different aspects to the property that might not impact at the time when the survey was done, let's say back in 2002 or whatnot. But as bylaws are changing and standards are changing, we always encourage clients to say, hey, get RPR as soon as you can, just to make sure that there's no issues, no problems.
Totally. Okay. So I got your presentation working.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? Do you want
if you just want to click
go
on
through this?
Yeah.
And it's actually on here. So,
oh, perfect.
And then we also have some questions for you.
For sure.
So do you want to go through this really quick first? And then
we can go through this, just take a couple of minutes just to present the company, show what we do and where we're located. So,
Jordan, go ahead and show my screen.
Oh, perfect. So as I mentioned, that one, sorry. Yeah. As I mentioned, so we are located throughout Alberta and BC as well. We have a few offices, Calgary, Grand Prairie, Lloydminster, Medicine Hat, Fort St. John's, and Edmonton. As you can see, our resources also are kind of cover rest of the Alberta. Just in case you have a client who is moving from parts of Alberta or going somewhere else, we can cover that and help you with RPRs. Quickly on what our company is involved with, obviously two first bullets are more or less oil and gas and construction services. Main one for this purpose is the municipal sector, which we're growing as we go and try to be implemented throughout the multiple cities in Alberta. In case what we can do for you, so is obviously real property reports. as I mentioned, we've done quite a bit of real property reports throughout the years, so we cover quite a bit of Alberta and Calgary as well. And if you have, for example, a client who is more or less a builder in some cases and developing new properties or new lots, we can help out with development permit surveys and help them out basically to create new lots, and if they need a subdivision, or do construction surveys as well.
Perfect.
And this is one of the new technologies that we purchased just last year. It's Matterport 2. Probably some of the guys have seen it. You know what it is. We want to get into that business because what we want to create is a one-stop shop for clients. If your client needs RPR and you guys need as agents maybe help out to promote the site or promote the listing, we can create something like that for you. Basically, it's just an overview scan of the property, how it is. It's a 3D model. Your client can walk through and see what the property looks like, multiple layers, and so on and so forth. Also, as you can see, it creates the size of the property, size of the area of the property. And ultimately, what we're looking for is scan and area certificate at the end of the day. So we can provide area certificates, so you can obviously post that for your listing as well.
Perfect.
Great.
All right.
Awesome. Okay,
Perfect.
well, let's get into some of the meat and potatoes, because there's a ton of questions that people have with RPRs. I was able to get some of our managers to help out with one of the big things that people are asking about right now. So we've already covered number one, so I'm going to skip it, which is when should a realtor be requesting an RPR, and it's the second you sit down with somebody. What are your surveyors, so the people that actually go out and do this, what are your surveyors' responsibilities as far as updating a real property report from a standard one after additions have been made?
So basically, if any addition or improvement has been done to the property, meaning if you added a deck or you made a change to the garage or maybe a built new fence, any of those improvements, let's call them improvements, they should be requested or should be calling for a new update for the real property report. Definitely want to make sure if there's anything outside the boundary, then you have to file that with the city just to make sure there's no encroachment issues.
Right.
If there's a structure that you built that you want to then present it to the city, making sure you have all the permits and the right permits before you sell. Obviously, we don't want to, again, delay the deal and delay the closing date and avoid some holdbacks at the end.
So when you can actually see that that something is clearly over the property line, you can see that, it's obvious, movable or immovable, how do you address that? When do you bring that up, or how do you bring that up?
The best time would be at the closing of your signing of your listing, I would say. If there is a previous real property report that maybe homeowner has, maybe want to take a look at it and walk through the property. Just maybe take some pictures and see if everything that's on the property matches what it was posted. So just to kind of give you a little red flags, as you said, if you see neighbor's garage overhanging over top of the fence, that's a good indication saying, oh yeah, that should be reflected on RPR. Just to have an idea if it is encroachment, might create potential issues.
Totally.
Right. Okay. Moving on. What are the most common additions that cause problems in a real estate transaction? And this is speaking directly to our realtors. We do have a lot of new realtors that have recently joined us. So people who haven't been in these situations. So they go to a property, they're at that standpoint where they're just looking around the house in general. What are the things that they should be looking at to be like, these things might be a problem?
One of the things that is always coming up is air conditioning units, window wells on the properties, and any potential additions, replacements of the decks, changing of the deck, size of it, and whatnot. So every time you see real property report, or a client comes to us and says, well, I don't have to have an update because everything is exactly the same, and the client also confirmed that verbally, we always suggest, you know what, have that real property report, maybe scan it or take a picture, send it to us. We can have a look at it and maybe give you an idea, yeah, this is potential that you have to look at. Is there red flags in this case or that case? So mainly it would be air conditioning units, movable, not movable structures such as sheds and window wells.
And one of the things I just want to mention that I'm so glad that you said is you guys, and we'll be sending out their contact information later this week, but you are very open to people taking a quick photo on their phone and emailing it to you guys. Just be like, hey, let me know what you think. Which is why I'm so happy that you're going to be part of our team for this, because I think that that's going to be a really nice way for people to get some quick information. So that'll be a benefit that you guys have.
I have to tell a quick story, and I want you to speak to decks and air conditioning units specifically. But we had an issue recently where the seller, the house was purchased, the deal was waiting for possession, and of course the seller did not have an RPR right away. Bad. That's on you. That's on you, realtors, not the seller. So the seller ends up, the air conditioner is beside the house, right next to the fence, obviously. And then all of a sudden they get the RPR, and there's an encroachment. It's like there's a problem. So the seller just takes it upon themselves to take the air conditioner, or gets a plumber to come in, move the air conditioner to the back of the house without the buyer's permission. Now it's taken up a place where the buyer was going to build a deck. And so the buyer didn't give permission to move it, but it encroached. So the seller took it upon themselves to get it fixed. And the big issue there is that a conversation needs to be had about what to do about this. So let's speak specifically to decks, air conditioners. What have you found?
So in cases that when you look at the AC units and whatnot, as long as city doesn't have, basically, let's start there. City needs to know where the AC unit is. They need to know if it doesn't obstruct any access to the back of the property. City's not saying you can't have one, but as long as it's documented, as long as they know that it's there, and it has right location, right size. There's certain restrictions, how far you have to be from property line, how far you have to be from the neighbor's property, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Going back to the point, documentation is very important. Communication with the city, with your buyer, just to make sure that everything is up to speed.
Obviously not a realtor. We have 2 air conditioning units. Long story. They came with the house. We didn't buy them. Is it because they're loud?
No.
Because they're not that big. Like how big are?
They're big. They're the
but
size
it's like,
of this table.
But they're not as high as this table. They're what, yay big by?
Approximately 2 by 2 feet, give or take. Maybe sometimes some of the bigger units might be 3 feet by 2 feet and whatnot. So
I mean, like there's. I mean, if you go to Canadian Tire in the summer, you can buy a flower pot that's bigger than an air conditioning unit, just in terms of like you put something somewhere. So it's just specifically air conditioning units?
No.
It has to do also with access. So for example, if you have an air conditioning unit on one side of a property and there's only setback of 4 feet from the foundation of the building to the property line, on the other side, let's say you have flower beds, windows, whatnot. So emergency units also needs to get back to the property somehow, just in case they have to respond to something. If you have obstruction like that, let's say cantilever on one side, air conditioning on the other side, that creates more problems for them. And a part of the 2007 bylaw that obviously came in 2008 in June 1st, is you have to have air conditioning unit on certain size, certain way, and you can't have everything on both sides. You have to kind of restrict one side to utilities and cantilevers and so on and so forth.
Interesting.
And when, and just so that some people that may have done not the development permit process before, when you go down to the city to get your approval for the decks, things like that, especially with you and Uncle Charles that wants to go out and do it with a case of beer, and you get your permits done, you have to bring in your RPR and show them, right? And show them the plot plans and things like that.
Yeah, they would require a sketch just to see location where it is. Obviously, real property report would be one of the best things because number one, it is to scale. It's not somebody who's doing anything on napkin, so it looks a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
But also has location, how far is it from property line, and then for your submission for applications, it's definitely easy that way.
Perfect. And what if clients don't have a real property report? How can they get an old one, or they have an old one? How can they get this information?
Definitely. There's a couple ways. You can definitely approach City of Calgary. So City of Calgary, you can go to the planning department and say, hey, was there any real property report done that you guys know of, meaning City will sign off on it or have previous compliance done, let's say, back in 2002? In that case, City will allow you to look at it. At least you'll have the company's name, there's address, who did it, when they did it, and what was reflected. Unfortunately, can't take any pictures of it because it's a private document and it's a copyrighted document, but at least you have an idea who to contact and go for an update if you wish.
Can the seller get a copy themselves?
You can grab the copy from the city. So that's the thing. You can approach the original or company who did the real property report,
okay.
And through them you can approach them and say, hey, can I obtain a copy? I'm planning to build something, or I'm selling the house. Unfortunately, I have to get an update or a new one if that's the case. Sometimes.
But if that company is no longer in business,
then obviously first thing you have to do is call these guys and they'll get one for you.
yes,
Okay.
yes, that would be where you start.
Absolutely. So we're going to be sending out more communication about all your contact information. We're going to get you guys involved in our preferred supplier program, which is one of the first survey companies, or first in a while, anyways, to have a survey company on here for RPRs, because it's such an important topic. It's actually the #1 reason deal goes deals get delayed is RPRs, the number one. So this is something that's so timely, so pertinent, and so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we really appreciate it. I love your willingness to help educate realtors and
Definitely.
being communicative back and forth. So that'll be great. We'll make sure that we have you in so some people can come and chat with you.
Definitely.
I know that we've had some people in the past couple of weeks actually ask us to have some classes on this, especially for some of our new realtors. So we'll get you guys involved with that. And that's
Definitely.
that.
More than happy. If there's a couple of guys who want to create a group, we can definitely join that in our office as well, in our conference room. We've done it before. So if there's a couple of guys that came on board and want to kind of know or whatnot about RPRs, we can have sessions, and that's not a problem.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
Carol,
Cool.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Appreciate
Thanks for having
it.
me.